Hello and welcome to Hellotouf, the YouTube channel for film reviews, tech and film talk. And today I'm going to be talking to Tomoi Summers, the DOP friend of mine who is a very talented person who's done a few videos that he's going to talk to us about today, and some content he's done in the last year or so. He started as a focus puller and essentially kind of built his way up through the ranks and is now I would say fully fledged DOP, but I'll let him speak for himself essentially, and we'll see what happens there. So yeah, hi Tomoi, how you doing?
Hi, Tooth. How you doing?
Not too bad. It's Sunday. I am feeling a little bit tired, essentially, but cracking on, and I think that's the most important thing. So yeah, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. It's glorious day to be stuck indoors, but yeah, hey ho, got my help.
Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, sort of like how you became a DOP, and also what you're going to be talking about with us today?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, mainly in the camera department, just working my way up on drama sets mainly, from starting as camera trainee and then clapper loader for a few years, and then focus puller for a few years, which is still mainly what I do now for bread and butter. But I'm at a stage in my career now where I'm trying to sort of use what I learnt over the years, working for lots of other DOPs, to forge a career as a DOP on my own, which is proving difficult, and I'm by no means there yet. But I'm learning with everything I do.
Well, I think you're underselling yourself a little bit there. I think you're a very talented DOP myself. I've worked with DOPs before as well, so I definitely think you're on your way, as you put it, but I think you're pretty much there. And I think that also some of the advice you're going to give us is probably going to be pretty invaluable. So I appreciate your time.
No worries. Pleasure.
Cool. What are the 3 videos and bits of content that you're going to be talking about with us today?
So today, all 3 of the projects that I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to pick out one single frame from a sequence and sort of break it down really in terms of my approach and sort of the logic behind the lighting mainly. All 3 of these projects are completely a really low budget or no budget, and I thought that was important because I don't think all advice has to be made immediately inaccessible by showing you big sets with loads of crew and loads of departments and things like that. So 2 of them are music videos for 2 different bands, and one of them is a short form drama web series, which was kind of a proof of concept for a larger drama commission.
So, Tom, the first video you're going to talk to us about today is a video called Sickie by a band called Be Good, and I believe the director's called Ricky Allen. Let's have a quick look at the video.
Are you acting on a feeling? You call me up for 20 seconds saying nothing. I know you're there cause I can kinda hear you breathing. You're stacking sugar cubes and thinking about me, babe. Are you okay? I pulled a Sickie to come see you on a weekday. I read a song while you were finishing an essay. I know you hurt because I heard the same. Now I can see a garden, I can see a car in the driveway. I can see a cat by the front gate. I can see you reading on a cold day. It's like music I can feel through the wall. I wait for so long.
So what did you want to tell us about this particular video? How was the shoot actually for you?
The shoot was good. We shot it on a very, very tight budget over 2 days. A little bit in a studio, just a white studio, but the rest of it was all on real locations, just around Bristol in the UK. It was pretty manic, as all music video shoots are. But I was kind of proud of the outcome of this one because even though we had those budget restrictions, we planned it really, really well. We took a really close look at the scheduling and the locations. And the shot that I want to show you today is, I think it was only successful because of how well we planned it and how how thorough we were with our location records.
Cool. And just before you go to the actual bit you're going to show us, what were the locations? How many locations did you have? And did you say it was one day shoot? Was it?
It was over 2 days. I think we had, I want to say 4 or 5 different locations. Some of them were at night as well. So we shot over 2 11-hour days, which are pretty standard.
Yeah.
But yeah, just driving ourselves around in our cars, no production truck or anything like that. It was literally just with the specific, exactly the equipment that I needed, down to like the knuckle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it all had to fit in the back of my Volkswagen Golf. So
Yeah.
it was a case of being efficient with my lighting, and also scheduling it in a way that would mean that the sun would work in our favour.
That's interesting. Also, so what did you shoot it on? Was it FS7?
No, this one was shot on the Arri Alexa Mini, which with Atlas Orion anamorphics, which were courtesy of Video Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it really.
I wonder about anamorphics because I always think, anamorphics. I always think lens flare. Was that part of the reason why you took why you did it anamorphic, or?
Not really. I wanted to shoot anamorphic because this is portfolio work. Like I say, I'm not there as a as an established DOP yet. So, but I think we shot anamorphic because there was originally they wanted a really kind of vintage feel for the aesthetics, and because we didn't have the budget for props and costume and all that stuff, basically we needed to try and get that across with the camera. And the Atlas Orions, I think they're a bit like Marmite. You either love them or you hate them. I think there are great things about them, but there are also drawbacks. And one of the things that I don't like about the Atlas Orions is the flare characteristics. I think they're incredibly difficult to manage, and they're not all that pretty. They're very, very kind of saturated violet blue, which is so saturated that it almost looks a bit fake to my eye.
No, it's almost too much.
Yeah, almost too much. And
too much natural flare that looked fake, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost, yeah, but also not controllable enough. Not controllable.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let's have a look at the we've seen the video, so let's have a look at what you're going to talk us through in terms of the slate, the actual image that you're going to.
Cool. So for this location was a hotel room up on the 2nd or 3rd floor, I think. So we couldn't put any lights outside this window, which is real. But outside that white window is a white wall from another building. And so when we went on the recce, we were careful to schedule it so that the sun at that particular time of day that we were there would be hitting that white wall and effectively bouncing back into the room through this sheer curtain as well, which kind of meant that it was essentially like a big like book light, because it was being diffused via bounce and then diffused again through the net curtain. So that diffused light coming in through the window, that basically provides not only the ambience of the room, it also provides the key on our main subject here, and also gives us all these kind of specular highlights off these shiny surfaces in the room, which just kind of add that kind of top end of the luminance within the frame, which I think adds a little bit more depth, a little bit more shine. However, to avoid him being completely silhouetted, I needed to wrap that light that's coming in through here nice and soft. I needed to kind of wrap it round into his other eye, because otherwise he would have been just completely black. So you'll see here that there's the highlights, specular highlights off his skin, which are kind of there. But then also there is a little bit of exposure here on this side,
Yeah.
And the way that I did that was I just brought in one silver reflector, and I kind of placed it around here. So it's just he's getting that direct light from the diffused sunlight, but also it's that reflector in the room, kind of right in front of him, is wrapping it around to this eye.
Nice.
Yeah. Then we've got that. So then we've got that level of highlight. Then we've got that level of highlight. So there's separation there. And also we've got this bit here, which is all just shadow. And the way that I achieved that, or accentuate it rather, or accentuate that contrast, was on this wall, which is kind of just around the corner, I put a big bit of black material, and that kind of just soaked up all the daylight, which was coming into the room and then bouncing off the wall and back at him.
Right.
But other than that, I think within the room we had, as tungsten sources, we just had this practical here. There was another practical up there, just above the wardrobe. And then there's another one of these on this side of the bed. And all I did with those was I just unscrewed the bulb of that one, put in lower, weaker bulbs, which I had with me in these lamps. I knew which kind of bulbs to bring because on the recce we had a look.
Yeah.
And that just adds not only kind of highlights in the background, but it also adds a bit of color contrast. I think the camera was balanced at maybe 4,800, something like that.
Yeah.
And that just cools down the daylight a bit, and also makes these tungsten units, tungsten practicals, just seem really warm.
What was your stop at for this particular shot?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it must be maybe around 4, maybe 2, 8.5, something like that.
Yeah.
I tried to avoid shooting wide open on these lenses just because they got so soft and mushy that it almost made it a little bit too dirty for my liking. I'm not really a huge fan of really, really sharp lenses generally. Yeah. But that was just a little bit too much the other way. But yeah, basically I think from this one I learned that planning is just really important. Knowing your location is really, really important. And as long as you can work the schedule a little bit, kind of negotiate that with whoever's scheduling it, which in this case was Ricky Allen as well. I think you can really kind of squeeze the most out of a location without having to lug loads of units up there. Yeah. Up 3 floors, trying to hide lights and kind of crowding an already quite small set with loads of stands and trying to hide different bits of grip gear and stuff. It can just become too much to manage, especially if you've only got a tiny crew.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I ask a couple of questions? I've got so that little kick on the shoulder, like the little bit on the shoulder for him, basically that was just using the ambient lights in the room, and then because you blacked out that curtain just on the other side of the bed. Is that right? So where was that light coming off on the back of the shoulder, or on the shoulder side of him facing?
Which shoulder? This bit here?
Yeah.
So that's just kind of coming off the bedside lamps, which are just bouncing off the bed sheet. And
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So it's all just using lights which are there and kind of managing the lights which are there.
Yeah.
It's all about kind of modification and control, rather than actually putting in lights and then finding that you have to fight those lights that you've already put up.
And do you remember what time of day you shot this?
Not quite sure. I thought it was like mid morning, I think.
Okay. And how long did it take to set up?
Not quite sure. Maybe 20 minutes or something like that. Not including getting all the gear in and things like that.
Yeah. Well done.
But once you're set like this, this played for a lot more angles as well in the same room.
Yeah.
Without much modification. So.
How many takes did you do? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember. It's a music video, so probably loads. We also did a thing where we played back the music at double speed, and then shot the whole thing at 50 frames a second. So that's why the kind of sync motion is kind of got this dreamy, sort of dreamy, slow quality to it.
So actually, he's singing at double speed. Then he was actually at the mouth to double speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that before. I've done that before on my video, some of my videos. So
yeah, it works well. I mean, it's a bit cliche, but but yeah, it works. And I think the other thing was there's a strobe in this, which is kind of a running theme throughout. So I do have a like an RGB LED tube just over here, I think, hidden.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, should we move on to the next video then?